Hello everyone, welcome to the Ask Bess show. I am Bess McCarty, Victoria, Kansas, and this is a show where you can ask questions about anything about career, health, wealth, love, business, life, of a holistic health practitioner, body-mind therapist, inner child therapist, generic network marketing coach for years. And today is a very special day. I'm interviewing my good friend, Shawn White, another fellow coach and personal growth advocate. And the topic today is how I overcame my greatest fear. So I loved his story. I want to know more about it, and I want to share that with you. And I want to also ask him about more about fears, what he has to share with us. So I really want to glean from his wisdom and share this with you today. Shawn, if you're on the line there, I just realized that I ought to introduce this first and then bring you on in a few minutes. There he is. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And also what I should do first is I should do the inviting of people. So going to do that now while we speak a little bit and let you know, I know Shawn, he just gravitated to each other here on Facebook is where we met. And I enjoy his Facebook Lives very much. There's a whole lot of interaction over there on his lives. And he has a lot of wisdom to share from his life, from overcoming his own challenges, which is what we're all doing. So what we do is we inspire each other and uplift each other, share tips, and try to shortcut each other's learning curve, make life a little easier for the next person. And the topic today is about fear, and that is one that everybody has universally. Even the most successful people, even the happiest marriages, even people in the greatest health are working on something, are working on some challenge or lesson, or else we wouldn't be growing. And that's what this world is for. It's a school to help us to get better at living, and ultimately, I think, better at giving and loving. And so we don't have to do it alone. And that is one of my main messages to you. I know we're all going through things. And I hear you. You matter. You don't have to do it alone. There's a solution to every problem. And it's always within reach. And there's many helpers, and I'm one, and Shawn is one. And thank you all for being here, because we all learn from each other here as well. So Shawn is also inviting people, and he says, welcome everyone. So we will come on in just a moment. Together we can accomplish a lot, can't we? Facebook gets people together. I'm eternally grateful for Facebook for introducing me to the best people on here, including Shawn and other wonderful people. It's like a huge party, a huge network marketing or a networking group where people can meet each other and benefit each other and ask questions and shortcut, get answers to make life easier for themselves and for others. So, okay, Shawn, are you ready? Can you request to come on? And then I will be able to bring you on. I wonder if I can bring you on without your request. This is the first time I'm actually doing it. Thank you for the likes and loves, everybody. I appreciate that. And by the way, if you're watching the replay, please type in replay, because I want to thank you for watching. And there, I can bring you on, I believe. Can I? Approve. Yep. Shawn's going to be joining us in a minute. When you find that there's one above each other.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes. Can you
hear me loud and clear?
Yes, you're loud and clear. Thank you. Although I don't see the top part of your face again, but backing up, now I see more of your face. Thank you. That looks great. We want to, there's so much handsomeness to take in there. I want to get it all. And the left side and right side. Okay. Thank you very much. So We actually probably on a Facebook Live, didn't we? I should probably fix my camera too, right? Okay, maybe that's better. So, Shawn,
Awesome.
on last week's Facebook Live, you mentioned that you mentioned what was your greatest fear and that you overcame that. Can you tell us what was is this like the greatest fear in your whole life?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you're watching this from. So my greatest fear, in which that I had many, different fears in which that I had to overcome, in which I'm still working on, right? But the greatest one to me, and I spoke about this last week, as Ms. Bess stated, was the fear of doing Facebook Lives. And allow me to explain why that one was the greatest one. Because of the fact that I'm naturally an introvert, one of the type of individuals that I have no problem as far as with being behind the scenes, right? I have no problem as far as with engaging in being the cheerleader, so to speak. I have no problem as far as just being behind and just getting all the nuggets and just taking down the notes and really just being in that type of fashion, right? But when when it came down to doing this, it was like, ooh, uh, yeah, about that. Well, you see, uh, I'm not like so and so, or I'm not as articulate as so and so. I wouldn't know as far as what to say. Who would want to listen to me? And what do I have to offer? I'm not a six-figure or a seven-figure earner, right? So all these different things came about, and it was so much because of fears. They're essentially, and I'm not talking about like fear of gravity and things like that. I'm not talking about like universal laws. I'm talking about the fears that has been implanted in our minds, right? Since birth and since childhood. It was so strong, and because like it was so much power and energy to it that it got to a point where I believed it. So how did I overcome that? Because that was the question that Ms. Best asked, right? Two things. One, I had a conversation with a young lady, which I totally respected to this day, Miss Ruth Ann Young. And I told her as far as on what I wanted to do. And she said, Shawn, that sounds great, but except for one thing. And I said, what? She said, always remember this. In order for you to step outside your comfort zone, you're gonna have to adopt the art of getting very uncomfortable and being comfortable with that. And I was like, ooh. Okay. All right. So I said, okay, fine then. What I got to lose? Even then, guys, as I was starting the process of doing my first Facebook Live, I had all these different things in my mind. Like, okay, I'm gonna write this long script. I gotta make sure I got dot my I's and cross my T's and all this other stuff. And I actually thought, guys, that by me doing my first Facebook Live, that I was gonna fall out, I was gonna croak and everything else, right? A funny thing though, I did the first Facebook Live and I didn't croak. I didn't have a heart attack. I was nervous? Absolutely. I was stuttering and fluttering and everything else. But I lived. So I said, okay, cool. Well, let me do another one. Same way, stuttered and fluttered and everything else. But then something happened. Something happened inside. I said, well, if the first two I've done and I didn't croak, okay, I'm still alive. I didn't go up into a tangent. I said, okay, cool. Let me start doing more. And so I started doing more. And what I did is that I started learning from others that were doing Facebook Lives, how the way they were doing. And I was just learning little bits and pieces. And in turn, that fear 2 years later has now become a strength because now I'm so comfortable within myself. And I really got out of my way of what others is going to think, right? And what my family members is going to think, and what other people is going to think. Because the reality is, it was never about me. So when you come from that place, ladies and gentlemen, when you're doing your Facebook Live, and of course you want to provide value, obviously you just don't want to be on Facebook Live just to be talking and not bringing no value. But when you adopt that it's not about me, it's about service, and it's about helping others. Believe me when I tell you, it will be a lot better. And you will surprise yourself.
Mm.
Next question.
That sounds like a key there. It's not about me. And also struck when you said, I told myself this enough until I believed it. Wow. And to be comfortable learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable and that you're not going to croak. And you face the greatest fear known to mankind, greater than the fear of death, is the fear of speaking. And I guess, what is it about it? What other people think of me? Are we so worried that we are not, not lovable, not likable?
Correct. And that again, it boils back to as far as the self-limited beliefs in which that we put on ourselves, right? What other people put on us, the amount of power that we put into that. Because all it is a self-limited belief. It's not real. But it only becomes real on how much power we give to it. So another fear in which I can definitely talk about, and this was something, it took me a long time, and I'm still in the process of it, Miss Bess, and you and Jeff has helped out so much on that, is that I am enough.
Mm.
Feeling like as far as that I'm not worthy again because of based upon my past experiences, based upon the fact that no matter what I did, as far as in school, that it wasn't enough for my mom, right? She always had like she will always instill that if it wasn't 100s, it wasn't good enough. I couldn't get a 95. I couldn't get a 93. No, 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 no. That was unacceptable to her. Now, granted, I'm not mad at her because you have to understand in the 70s and the 80s, that was pretty much the mindset as far as for most parents. So I definitely get it. So she showed me and instilled the value and tough love the best way that she could. But because of that, at the same token, it definitely took a toll on me, psychologically and spiritually and mentally. So having that I'm not enough and feeling like I'm not good enough, that self-limited belief was so strong, combined with the experiences of what I went through, that's where that fear came into me. And the only way I was able to counteract that, ladies and gentlemen, is as far as with the mindset and retraining my mind on a daily basis. The thing in which that I find, Ms. Best, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm listening.
Oh, okay. The thing in which that I found, and this was the reason why I struggled so much, especially early on in my network marketing career, is because of the fact that I thought that, well, it's not the right opportunity, right? Not the right compensation plan, right? And I used to make all these excuses, right? As far as to my upline and my downline and my around line, and not getting the right training and the right coaching, and well, let me go this opportunity because that may serve better, and let me jump to this opportunity because that looks a whole lot more better. But there was a common theme. I was taking myself, and on top of that, I wasn't taking full advantage of what mentors and coaches and others that have that's in a position where they've been where I was at and achieving at the highest level. I wasn't taking advantage of that because of that self-limited belief that was so instilled. So that was definitely a fear. So when I started to overcome that by being surrounded by people like Miss Bess, like uh, Jeffrey, David Gamble, which, by the way, he's an absolutely a rock star. Um, other mentors and coaches, and really started not just listening and taking notes, but applying on a daily basis. That's when I started noticing change, along with prayer and meditation, and that started to build me up. I hope that makes sense to someone.
Thank you. It does to me, especially the part that it's not real, and that you started to change the mindset, and that you looked and you actually know where it came from in your life. you know, that 95% was not good enough, or maybe it's worth nothing. It's 100 or nothing, right? So all the effort that you put out, I could just see a child, you know, all the effort, and the child feels pretty good about getting 95, and the mother or the parent might say, that's worth nothing if it's not 100, you know. Yeah, I'm just going to wipe all that out and not appreciate the struggle or the steps or the growth that the child did do. So that's why I love inner child work, and I became an inner child therapist. You went back and you knew where that came from, and that that was not even real. When you said it was not real, I got this image of like a monster, you know, a made up animated monster that somebody drew and put life in. It could move around and jump off the page and look like it's real. You know, it fools us and looks like it's real. And all we have to do is say, you're not real. You know, you're
And
not
that's
even
the
real.
hardest. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's all.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be completely honest with all you guys because I love being transparent. It's not so much. See, a lot of people just think that okay, well, I'm just gonna join this business, join this opportunity. I'm just gonna make lots of money and ride out into the sunset, and everything's gonna be on the easy street. And Miss Bess can definitely attest to this because this is what she teaches her students: is that, in all honesty, that's work. But you want to know what the hardest, well, the most challenging work is? Is doing the work internally because it's scary. It is no joke. And believe me when I tell you, the more that you uncover and unravel these self-limited beliefs, and the more you unravel and discover about yourself, guess what? You got some more work to do. You got a lot of work to do because these self-limited beliefs and strongholds that you had, guess what? They didn't appear overnight, ladies and gentlemen. And the older in which that you get, the more work that you realize, like, wow, I got a lot of work ahead of me. Because in order for you to get to that six-figure or seven-figure or eight-figure or whatever your dreams and goals is, keynote and write this down. Please, somebody write this down. There is no way biometrically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, however you want to frame it, that you can become that six or seven figure earner being the person that you are right now. A rewiring of the brain, a rewiring of the spirit, the rewiring of your skills, that is indeed necessary. Why is that? Because your current self cannot handle the six-figure earner, the seven-figure earner, the eight-figure earner status because it comes with different responsibilities and different challenges. When I had to understand that about myself, it was like, it was number one, very humbling to say the least. But secondly, it was like, okay, so if that's the case, let's go. Let's work. Let's work. Why? Because it's worth it. Or what's the other option? Basically, be exactly where you are. Don't take advantage of the resources that Ms. Bess or Jeff or your mentors or coaches give you. And a year from now, be in the same position in which that you're at, or dare I say, possibly even worse. It's your choice. Next
Thank you.
question, man.
What a thrill to be able to take a step, which will always be for all eternity. That's what I understand, is that there's never an end to how much we can learn. And isn't that good news, or else we get pretty bored? I like that you said it's not easy, but it is worth it. And I want to say hi to the people who are on. I got Tavin White on there,
Oh,
and
my nephew. Hey,
yeah,
nephew.
wondering, and
Tavon. Tavon.
Nancy, Vicky, Mahai. I want to welcome everybody. Everybody's leaving some cool comments, so I'm going to let you go down and read those and keep the discussion going after this. We have just about a few more minutes here, about 5 more minutes here.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you, Shawn, is this work that you do with people? What's your mission? How do you help people?
Oh, my mission. You know something, Ms. Bess? Prior to, if you'd have asked me maybe a year or 2 years ago, I probably would have been all over the place. But I thank God for you and Jeff, and so many of my other coaches as well. So my mission statement is this, and that I have this on my profile. My mission statement is to help transform leaders' lives, but not only their lives, but the lives of others. My mission statement is to become a $200 million earner with me and my team traveling around the world, speaking engagements, providing people with tools and resources needed as far as to transform their lives and to break through barriers. And it's a whole lot more, but I want to give the short version. I am here. What I'm currently doing as of right now, I'm creating a coaching group in which that I'm looking for key individuals that are ready as far as to break through. They have a general idea of what they want, but they're stuck. They're stuck either as far as on how to scale their business. They're stuck as far as breaking self-limited patterns or self-destructive beliefs. I am here for those key individuals that are betting on themselves, but they're looking for guidance. I'm looking for key action takers. I'm looking for people that are humble, they are coachable and teachable, but yet they are hungry. And they realize that they have a dream and they have a passion, but they just need the right guidance and support system. Someone that believes in them. I will be your biggest cheerleader. I will be your biggest supporter, but also I'm going to challenge you more so on your mindset, in your thinking, in your language. Because Miss Bess, she teaches this, and I love this lady here. She's one of my most favorite people in the whole entire universe. I kid you not. And this is what I'm going to provide in this coaching group. So if you're
That,
interested, let me know.
that sounds very powerful. And don't you think that when we when people get assistance, they can go 10 to 100 times quicker than they could alone? Yes, we can do it all alone, but it's a longer, dredging, lonely road, and it doesn't have to be that hard. We can speed each other on wings and make it easier and faster and fun and more wonderful to work together.
Absolutely. Oh, a million times over. And that was something that I had to overcome as well. And that's where the pride comes into play. I was basically that lone wolf. I was the one that would say, you know what? I don't need people like Bess and Jeff and others. And, no, I can do this on my own. There's YouTube, there's Google, there's free master classes and things like that. Yes, you can. But I'm going to tell you from experience, you can get all that you want, but there's a total difference. There's a synergy when you're around a community of individuals that has been where you're at, know how it's like, but have overcame that, and that is thriving. It is something about that it's kind of hard to explain, but I recommend for you, if you're that lone wolf, stop being that lone wolf because it's not going to benefit you. If you're looking as far as for basic skills, skills that are so duplicatable to where you can teach your team and they can get results. And I mean, like, honestly, guys, I've been around a lot of concepts, and I have to say, without a shadow of a doubt, the Millionaire Leadership Academy, the school, the way that Bess and Jeff teaches, it's like you would just sit there and you'd be like, well, I'll be, well, I'll be. It's so duplicatable and it's so simple, but yet powerful at the same time. And what I also love is that what they teach, they preach, they do on a day in and day out basis, and the results speaks for itself. And by the way, I'm one of the students if you haven't figured it out. I recommend their school to anyone, honestly. Anyone.
Thanks for your report of the MLM Millionaire Academy. We have a class tonight and every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's very affordable, and people are jumping ranks.
Get
And
in.
has it made a difference for you in your network marketing business?
Yeah, absolutely it has because a lot of people they go for no approach. And with this, it's so simple, but yet it's not threatening. You know what I mean? It's more so that you're asking for a favor. You're asking for a favor from one of your friends, and the way that it's framed is that they put it in such a way that if you were to speak as far as to your friend, to your best friend, someone that you really care about, one on one, the way that it's framed is that they would say, "Oh yeah, sure, Bess, yeah, no problem, no problem at all, no problem at all." And the way that I see a lot of marketers do, they have that direct approach, but it's something about it because there's a disconnect with other people. But with the favorite script, mm, I assure you, this is something that's duplicatable. And believe me, you will get a lot of presentations, but more importantly as well, you will build solid key relationships.
Thank you. I
That's
call
what it's all about. It's about building because the money's going to come. It's a byproduct of that. It's universal law. And I can do a Facebook Live about that later on, but I know Ms. Best only, she's limited on time. So I hope I
yeah,
answered your question, madam.
I have to get to a next appointment here. And thank you for the report on the school and the script that I call the Always Get a Yes script. I call us the Alternative Network Marketing School, and we're generic. And it's it, these methods are just not found anywhere else, but they're the simplest, easiest, fastest I've ever seen. And so proud that we can bring those. I'll put a link below, um, and or you could message me. Now to find Shawn and his work, just go to Shawn's page, and if you haven't yet, become friends with him because it's a wonderful circle to be in. And you can check out his coaching group or Facebook message him about that. So what have you, what, I guess that's the whole package. You got the skills and you got the mindset. And really appreciate you taking time to come out on today. And I loved everything you said. It was very powerful and in a nutshell. And if you guys go back and listen to this replay of this Facebook Live, I think you'll find simple but very deep and profound and effective words and tools and tips. So even though it sounds simple, but each thing that Shawn said was very powerful, and it works, and it's worked for him. And it's turned his life around, and he's turning other people's lives around too. So thank you very much for coming on, and we'll see you in the Academy class tonight.
Absolutely. And Miss Best, once again, great leadership, by the way. I just love your presence and your mannerism. You are indeed an inspiration. And believe me, like any single time that you come on and you just present value and greatness, literally, I'm like this. And I'm soaking it all up. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. I guess that helps me to know that it matters to somebody, and that we keep doing it. And you guys, if anybody wants to put on a Facebook Live, you could follow Shawn's steps that he did, and let us know if you croak or not. Okay. Let us know what happens for you and how you feel afterward. I bet you're going to feel like a million. So
Yep.
thank you for helping me and other people to break out of our stuck places, be comfortable with our discomfort, and change our lives.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody, for being on. Let's keep the conversation going below, and I'll post this now.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you so
Thank
much, Miss Best.
you, Mr. White. Bye-bye.
Okay.